Hey, it's Chico, and if you're looking for deals as a real estate investor, your best avenue is to be highly targeted. You want to be like a sniper, not carpet bombing an entire area. And so the first step is to start with the most qualified prospect. And one of the more qualified prospects that are going to produce deals for you are people that are in particular situation and circumstances which would lead them to be predisposed to sell you their property at a discount because they need help in getting rid of their problem property. And one of those people are people that are delinquent on their property taxes. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down what I call the triple threat. And I just made that up. That's why you've never heard of it before. But how can you take a very highly qualified list and how can you then extract from them more money and more deals than any other investor in your local market? Because that's where you're going to win. You're not going to win by spreading yourself out too thin. You're going to win by being focused and by being intentional about your marketing efforts to extract as much money as possible. Because at the end, what matters is what you make, not the gross. A lot of people talk gross, but I'm talking about net. You want to be able to net and profit as much as you can in your real estate business, and this strategy is going to be key for you. So in this video, I'm going to cover how to get the list, the criteria that you are going to then follow to not target everybody on that list. You're going to target a particular number of people or individuals on that list. And then finally, my approach for getting a hold of them and getting them to raise your hand and want to do business with you. So first of all, how do you get the list? The easiest way to get the list, and most of the time the most economical way to get the list, is through your local county. So going to your local county and asking them that you are looking for a list of property owners that are behind on their taxes. Sometimes the answer comes quick. Sometimes you may have to ask 3 or 4 times and be persistent about it. You can also look at filing a Freedom of Information Act in order to get access to that information if you're really getting stalled by it. But you have to be resourceful. One of my mentors says that a sign of the mark of a great entrepreneur is resourcefulness. And that's what you have to be here in terms of getting that list. You can also Google and you can find service providers that will give you the list as well. But I always find that if you can get it directly from the county, you're going to save more money and you're going to get a better list. So step number 1 is then getting the list from the county. Now, once you get the list from the county, what is the criteria inside of the list that will enable you to narrow that list down? Because many times that list will be 10, 15,000 people. So how do you narrow that down? Now, first of all, you want to target people that are behind in their taxes for at least 2 years. Why 2 years? Because 1 year could be just an oversight. Could be that they just forgot about it. Something fell through the cracks and they didn't get a chance to pay the tax bill. 2 years, now it starts to get into now it's starting to be a problem. So you want somebody that's at least 2 years behind. I also want them to have at least past due $500. Now that depends on the area. If you're in California, prices are higher, tax bills are higher, maybe that amount should be bigger. But let's say at a base, $500. If you see a property that has a tax delinquent bill of $20 or $30 or $40, I would ignore those. Thirdly, I would focus on residential and residential income. That means you're focusing on single family residential properties and also duplexes, triplex and quads. That's considered residential income property. Now, a lot of times the records will have a code, and if you don't know what that code are, you can get a guide from the county, from the same place you got the list from, that will tell you what the codes mean, and you only want to target those type of properties. No commercial, no vacant land, or anything like that. However, if you are targeting specifically vacant land, or if you're doing vacant land wholesaling, then that's a different story. Now, additionally, I want you to focus on the zip codes that have the most investor activity. I'll post a link here on the description. You can get access to a couple videos that I did on how to go out and how to analyze your market to determine where is it that investors are buying properties in and where should you focus your efforts when you are doing wholesaling. And so therefore, now you're going to take those zip codes. Let's say you find the top 10 zip codes where there's a lot of investor activity, then you're also going to go ahead and then narrow the list down by using that criteria. So again, you are narrowing down by the number of years that the property is behind their tax bill. You want single family residential, single family residential income. You want properties that are in the target area. The last criteria that I would use would be also square footage. Typically, single family houses, if it's a 2-bedroom house, somewhere around 900 to 1,000 square feet, no more than say 2,500 or 3,000. So that's the criteria that you want to use to get your list to a manageable size. So then now we can go to the next step, which is how do you target these people? How do you get these people to raise their hand and communicate with you? So now you have an opportunity to do a deal with them. So for that part of the video, I'm going to go ahead and use my trusty clipboard here. Don't mind the fancy drawings here. My daughters come and sneak in and will write stuff on my clipboard when I'm not looking, and then lo and behold, I find the pages. So I'm not going to delete that. So the first thing that you're going to do with that list, the easiest thing really, would be to go ahead and send them a postcard. Now, if you're going to send a postcard, okay, what I recommend is you send my blind copy postcard. I'll put a link in the description here for you to get access to my blind copy postcard. And you're going to go ahead and use my blind copy postcard to that list. And you're going to go ahead and send them to a 24-hour recorded message, because this postcard is going to generate a lot of calls. So you're going to send them to a 24 recorded message. And then from here, you're going to get 2 types of calls. You're going to get hang-ups, right? Hang-ups. And you're going to get messages. Well, you're going to get one more. Okay, you're going to get another one called screamers. These are people who call and yell and say, please don't send me any more letters. All right, so these here you're going to ignore. These here you're going to call back, and the hang-ups you're going to call back. The simple script for the hang-ups is just calling somebody up. You call the phone number. You said, hey, my name is Cris, and I missed a call the other day about a property for sale. Did you possibly have about a possible property for sale? Did you have a property that you're looking to sell? And they either say yes or no, and that's it. And if they say yes, okay, great. Well, sorry, missed your call. I'd love to chat with you about the property and see if it's something that might meet our criteria, and see if it might be something that we're looking to buy. And that's it. You go into, go into discussing the property with them and everything else. I'm not going to go into that here in this video here for the purposes of what we're trying to discuss here. So that's one way. Another way that I want you to use is I would go ahead and use Facebook, and we're going to call this FB. Now with Facebook, what you're going to have to do to the list is you're going to have to skip trace the list. You're going to skip trace the list. Okay. Skip trace. I missed that R there. Okay, you know what I mean. Skip trace the list. So you're going to get phone numbers. Now, the reason why we're going to skip trace the list is because we take that list and we can upload it to Facebook. But, without a phone number, you're not going to get that many people matching that. Now, just a couple things. In order for this to be effective, you want to be able to have at least 1,000 people that you have on that tax delinquent list that you're going to skip trace. On average, if you skip trace 1,000 phone numbers, 1,000 people, you're going to get an average of 3 phone numbers per person. That means you're going to have 3 phone numbers to upload. So you're going to go ahead and skip trace that list. I recommend a service called Skip Genie, and you'll skip trace that list. You will then, you'll get the phone numbers back, and now you will then upload that list into Facebook. And then now what you're going to do is you're just going to run an ad that says, hey, do you have a property? You don't want to say on Facebook, you don't want to call out the prospect and say something like, hey, are you behind on your taxes? Hey, have you not paid your tax bill? No. Do you have a property that's behind on taxes? And or also a generic ad. Hey, do you have a property that you're thinking about selling? So now what's going to happen is this ad is going to be showing to those people that you uploaded at the same time that you're sending them the postcard. So now you're going to get the hang-ups, you're going to have the messages, you're also going to have people that will fill out your forms on Facebook. Now, this is a little bit of an advanced tactic. You want to use a reach objective and a landing page for this particular type of campaign, not a lead generation form, as I can't get into that. If you want to know more about this, about the Facebook, all right, also you can go to flipanywhere.com, Flipanywhere.com, and you can see a training that I have on using Facebook and virtual wholesaling and combine that all into one, and you can get more information about that. But so that's a second option. And then the final option is you've already skip traced the list, so you have the phone numbers, so you might as well call them. Now me, I don't like to call people. I don't like to do cold calling. And I don't particularly have a whole staff in place to do cold calling. So you could just either you do it, or you can hire a company that will go ahead and call your phone numbers. Now, yes, it is better if you yourself are going to be doing the cold calling. However, if you don't want to do the cold calling, like for me, I don't like doing cold calling. So if I don't, unless I get a company or somebody to do it for me, I'm not going to do it. So having a company call it, even if it's somebody from overseas, do your best to hire somebody overseas that has a good voice. But even if it's overseas, it's still better than nothing. All right. In the past, I've said, hey, don't hire overseas VAs, but it just depends. So I'm going to go ahead and get that list cold called as well. So now they're going to be calling people on that list. And so now here's what happened. Most people will never do this, because they don't know how to do that properly, the Facebook, and how to target them and everything else. A lot of people are going to be cold calling. Some people are going to be sending postcards. But I want to ask you, who do you know? Who do you think is going to do all three of these? All right. Now, is it possible? I'm just asking you, is it possible that, and if you use my blind copy postcards, typically the blind copy postcards generates 10% response rate. So is it possible that if you do this, and you call the hangups, and you call the messages, and you do the Facebook, and you skip trace, and you upload the list, and now you're putting these ads, and then you cold call it, is it possible that you're going to talk to more people than the normal investor? Is it possible that you have a good chance of putting a deal together with people that are motivated and have problems with their property? Is it possible that you can do a deal following this particular system? The answer is yes. It's definitely, you have a higher probability than if you just were to use one of these here. So what I'm saying is, let's be methodical about it. Let's find a list of prospects that have a high chance of them wanting to sell their property at a discount. And why not squeeze the lemon as much as we can to try to get a hold of these people? And then now that puts us at an advantage over other real estate investors that are not doing any of these things, especially the Facebook. Check out my Facebook training. Go to Flipanywhere.com. Check it out. And you can see that right now, even if you did this, all right, but even if you did that, you'd be head and shoulders. But there's the power of just doing all of these things. I guarantee you implement that, you're going to have success. And nobody else is doing it. So again, if you like what I just... Well, you know what? I don't care if you liked it or not. I think it's good. So I think you should subscribe. And I think you should give me a thumbs up. And I think you should make a comment. How about that? What about that? All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Sorry about my office is so messy today. Why? Because I'm going to be leaving out of the country for 3 weeks. And then I'm here for another couple days. And then I leave again for another 3 weeks. So I'm packing and I got messes everywhere. So excuse the mess, okay? But guess what? I gave you some good ideas. So guess what? You say, Chico, it's okay. You can be messy as long as you give us good ideas. That's all that matters.